on the issues that are at stake and the issues that are key. And we hope that this show is filling that gap and meeting that need. We are, of course, still very open to sponsorships, and interested parties can still speak to us at any given point in time if you would like to come on the show and have conversations around issues that are of concern to you. Today, we'll be talking about punctuality at work, punctuality generally. There's something that is very, very annoying to me personally, is the issue of African time. And the fact that we've allowed it to become something that is part and parcel of our lives, as Nigerians particularly, is something that we want to talk about today on this show. Punctuality at work, you get an employment letter that clearly states the time that you should resume work. And of course, after 1 year, maybe you're very good for 6 months or even 1 year max. But after that, you stroll into work at any time you like, you decide when you want to come to work, you give all manners of excuses. In fact, quite interestingly, I was sharing with Ali and Ivie last week here on the show about an applicant who actually came for the interview. And, you know, one of the questions when we asked him, do you have any questions for us? One of the questions that he asked was, is it okay if I come late once in a while? And you know, my team were quite taken aback by the question. And of course, the question was like, come late once in a while because your car breaks down, or there's a problem with your health or anything. He said, no, just come late once in a while. And so it's a big issue. It's a big issue, and I'm hoping that it's a conversation that we're going to have. We'll look through the issues. So issues around what time should be the proper time for resumption of work, what time should staff be at their desks, and again, of course, link that to issues of even people coming for interviews. So we find out that when people are going for interviews, they get there on time. They want to be prim and proper. I always ask the question that if you had an appointment at the embassy, would you go there late or you will go there on time? You find out that a lot of people will get to the embassy on time for their visa interviews. But when it comes to work and after a period of time, they become, you know, overly comfortable. And of course, before you know it, they're coming late to work. So it starts with 10 minutes late or 5 minutes late, and then it extends to 30 minutes late, and of course 1 hour, and issues like that. Now, this does not show any form of responsibility. Your employment or your work is given as a bond of trust. The job that you have is there's a bond of trust between you and your employer. The idea is that you are being employed to do something, and there's a time that you are supposed to be at your place of work. Now, if at any given point in time you are not there when you're supposed to be there doing what you're supposed to do, there is a breach of trust. The trust between you and the employer is broken. And I think that these are some of the issues that people don't pay attention to. We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more on this issue. Stand by and stay with us. So welcome back on the show, Vacancy with Alibaba again. It's good to have you with us. When we began, we were talking about punctuality. And again, as I said, punctuality, it's a very big issue that a lot of employers have complained about. So I looked up the dictionary meaning of punctuality. And here it says, it is the fact or quality of being on time. A lot of people have a problem with being on time to anything. And as I said earlier, it's because of the African time that has eaten deep into our consciousness. And so more often than not, we really don't care. I mean, if they say 9 o'clock, if I get there by 9, there will really be nobody there. And it's true, because I've found myself where you are invited for an event, a serious event, a conference, and they say to you 9 o'clock on the invitation, and you get there at 9 o'clock. The hosts, the person that is supposed to welcome you, is not even there at the time that he's supposed to be there. They're strolling later, you know, being all fluttered and fluffed and all that. And I think it's a big issue. You find people going late to the airport and then complaining about the traffic on the airport road and all of that. And you find people going late to work and using the Nigerian traffic as an excuse. Oh, I've been caught in traffic. There's no way you leave your home on time. When, of course, you are not just new in Lagos. You know that traffic in Lagos is unpredictable. So you don't use that as an excuse to your employer. Again, as I said earlier, it is a breach of trust. That means you cannot be trusted. Unfortunately, this can be argued. This can be argued on the matter of how is that a breach of trust. But as I said, employment or any relationship at all that has to do with time and punctuality is a basis of trust. And for every time you come late or you break that, then there's a break in trust. One of the things I read recently was that George Washington was such a stickler for time. This man was known to be scrupulously punctual to everything, to every place that he had to go. So there's this story of him, you know, getting a man to come and to meet him to sell his horses to him. And the man came 15 minutes late. And George Washington said he wasn't interested in buying because if he cannot keep to time, how is he sure that he has kept to being able to take care of the horses that he's supposed to sell? So punctuality is a big issue. A lot of people don't take it seriously, that they getting early to work is an important issue. Getting early to wherever they're invited to is an important issue. But it's something that we need to think about. It is something that more and more people are beginning to talk about it because, again, not only is it a breach of trust, it is also a mark of disrespect. Disrespect to the people that are waiting to meet with you, disrespect to, of course, the host or people that have invited you to the event, disrespect, again, to your employer. Since we're talking about vacancies and issues of employment and employability in Nigeria. So one of the issues, as we'll be raising it on our social media later today, I would like you to weigh on it in terms of what your thinking is. But I know for a truth that it's something that has eaten deep into our consciousness. Again, another issue most people like to come up with is, oh, I had an emergency. Now, it's okay to have an emergency once in a while when, if people know that you are the type that I as a person, I have a problem with going late for anything. It's a big problem. So when I'm invited to a place, I find out that I'm there maybe an hour earlier than is necessary. I used to, a lot of people around me used to complain. So maybe perhaps my assistant or my staff that go with me, they used to complain and wonder, but you're not the one hosting it. You are being invited. Why do you need to get there even before the people that are organizing it? But because it's a habit that I've formed over a period of time, I find it difficult not to leave earlier than is necessary to make sure that I get on the show. We'll go on a short break and we'll come right back. Thank you. So welcome back on the show, and Ali is here with me. Quite interestingly, we're talking about punctuality, and I'm sure he's going to take it up. But Ali, what happened to you?
I'm late. I am late, and which is one of the reasons why we will discuss this issue. I am sorry, I am late, but sometimes employers need to understand where the people are coming from.
Okay.
If the person, do you know how traffic builds up in Lagos? You don't know what causes it.
Exactly.
It just builds up and everybody's locked up. If you're on a bike,
but you see, it's the conversation we're having now that traffic in Lagos is unpredictable.
Yeah.
And if you've lived in Lagos all your life, or if you've lived in Lagos even for 6 months,
okay,
you will be able to understand that traffic in Lagos is unpredictable.
Yes,
So there are some days you think that it's going to take me the normal 2 hours to get to where I'm going, and it will take you 45 minutes because for whatever reason the road is clear. But you just get there earlier than is necessary. Because again, I have the issue of where if we begin to, yes, once in a while, as I said, once in a while, it's okay for for an employee to come late. It's okay once in a while, but not when it becomes an habit.
No, not when it becomes a habit. But you see, it's the reason why one has to even look at this issue as it concerns employers and employees.
Employees, yeah.
Some people come from places like Ajangbadi, Dokbemu, Mowe to get to work.
Yeah.
And the reason why some of them even live that far is because the cost of living closer to work is more. So they prefer to live like in
farther away,
Akute, so they can get to work. And what it means is that they'll close late, especially those ones that don't do, like civil servants. It's expected that civil servants close at 4. I understand that some of them, when they go for break,
they don't come back. Yeah, even 2 o'clock, the whole place is empty.
And then on Fridays, if they go for
the Friday, there's no work on Friday.
There's no work on Friday.
There's normally no work on Friday.
So that's what is the problem. Now, the people who live far off, some of them, especially in private organizations, either don't close about 6 or 7, and when they close 6 or 7, they now beat traffic for another 2 hours
before they start heading home.
Exactly. And when they get home, freshen up, take their bath, and then rest. They are up again at about 3 or 4 to make sure they get to work again at 7 or 8.
But isn't it that why you know more often than not? Because I hear you, I truly understand you. Because when we talk about looking for work and looking for employment, I mean it's where you find work that you go and do it. But isn't it more suitable for you to look for work that is a bit closer? Because at the end of the day, you're also. What happens with things like this is that the employer is made to feel guilty for at every given point in time.
But because of the desperation, people would apply for jobs that specifically say, like last week we were talking about when they say the job will say you must be in Lagos. The person will be in Kaduna, exactly, will apply.
With the hope that he has someone in Lagos that he will live with.
Okay. Now, I said I needed a Mac engineer to fix Mac in my office, and somebody put the word out. 2 people applied. Came to the place. I said, okay, so are you a Mac engineer? I said no, that he likes to work for me. So I said, but you saw that the application. So why did you say that? And then the CV that you put up, you now wrote there
you're a Mac engineer.
That you're a Mac engineer, that he can learn on the job.
I guess that's another topic for another deception.
Exactly, which is the same reason that some people will take jobs because of the desperation in places that they know they can't meet up.
But then after 1 month of coming to work early, they begin to come late.
Yes.
And when you complain, that's when they now tell you where exactly that they live. In fact, I had a driver who actually lived some outlandish place like that and got the job and came early for 1 week. And after that, now told me that over the weekend he moved. He just moved. He just moved there. And you're wondering, okay, you just got a job and you decided to move that distance. Oh, he was where he has been working on and his landlord gave him quick notice and all of that. Okay, fine. Hope it doesn't affect your work and all of that. No, it does not affect his work. 2 weeks down the line, he is never on time for anything. So you want him at 7 a.m., he's never even going to get to you at 9 o'clock. So how do you cope with that? And then an employer now decides to let that person go. And then it becomes that, oh, you are unfeeling, you're uncaring, these people are looking for a job. I think that around these issues, because again, as I said earlier, it has crept into our consciousness as African time. So even when you are invited for events, the host of the event is not there at the time that is stated. So they say, oh, we put it there so that people can come. We know we will not start 2 hours late.
Now that is beginning to change. Like event centers overseas, where comedians organize events.
Which is timed.
It's timed. And so once it gets to 11 o'clock or 10, if that is what time they give you, they shut down everything. There's no even room to say, okay, let us pay for extra time. No, they shut it down. And it's beginning to happen in Nigeria now because we always have this free time, free space, because you book for an event, people won't even come. It's not even the organizer. So you say the event starts at 6 and your people don't come till 8.
But people can also argue that they come at 6 And people are still running up and down, trying to fix
Trying to
the
organize
microphone, trying to fix this, and they're not ready, and they're going to sit down there. So, which is why a lot of people don't come on time for anything.
But when you now start the event and put all your artists, some artists don't even want to perform until people come.
No, but the truth of the matter is, once people recognize that you're like this, I always say, and it happens so many times with my own events, even when I'm dealing with governors of states and all that, and they say, they are the ones that will start calling me, Ini, should I start coming? Because I say to them when I go to them, sir, with all due respect, Your Excellency, we will start at 8 a.m. If you are not there, we will start. We will only recognize you when you come in. And most people used to think, oh, what? But when they realize that this is what is going to happen, somehow reluctantly or whatever, but they respect it and they will appear. Funny enough, people will always appear.
I had that battle one time. We had an event, and the Senate president had something and came later. But we are taking the national anthem. And then so as he came in, the guy came to me and said, the national anthem. I said, we can't take the national anthem twice. I said, when the event finishes, we'll take another one. But right now, he said, no, we have to take. I said, we're not taking. I said, I'm not announcing it. So I did not. Then the protocol guy came and said, bros, just take it. Just forget about it. I said, I'm not taking it.
Because
I said, and then I'll go and tell the Senate president that I refuse to take it because we're taking. So we didn't take the national anthem. When the event continued, if you hear what the guy told me, he doesn't. I said, look, I've done this job for 30 years. Go and sit down. You know, but punctuality is key. But there are factors that actually work against it. So residency, traffic, and then sometimes it's the time that you wake up.
Some days you oversleep.
The kind of I have a friend who had been running around in a bit, and his boss told him, let's work on this, and they worked till about like 10 on the project. They were supposed to submit it the next day. He got into traffic at 10 and still met traffic on his way to Dakwamu.
Yeah,
so he got home, rested for about like 2-3 hours, and got up again, took off, came to work, and left the proposal
at home.
So
that one is helicopter that we need to.
It comes with consequences, you know. But I believe that our employers would get to understand. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be rounding up on the issue of punctuality, timing, closing time, and we'll be right back.
People are not in the office, you know. So
all right, okay. So he has a situation like that on hand right now.
I mean, it just in as much as, I mean, I'm an employer of labor, and I honestly want to understand. I really do want to understand, but as I said earlier, it's a matter of trust. It's a matter of trust. So between an employee and an employer, it's the bands of employment is a matter of trust. And every time that you break that trust by coming late to work, and it becomes a habit, it becomes something that you have gotten comfortable. So people don't do it in the first 6 months of getting employment. They are right on time, they want to do it, but after a while they get comfortable. I think it's just, if it's something that's important, because no matter how tired you are, if you have an appointment at the embassy for a visa to the US, you will be there.
If you have a flight at 7 o'clock,
you will be there. I always sit at the airport and wonder how people start to you see them running. They're so flustered, they're so scattered, they are losing things because they're running to catch a flight. I have never understood it. I have never understood it, because I'm there 2 hours before. I'm going to stroll in, have a cup of coffee, do all what I need to do, and then take your time to board the flight. And it's the same thing with work. So yes, your residence may be far, but I think it's something that as an employee, you should think about when you're applying for that position. Because again, perhaps next week we'll be talking about deception in CVs and resumes. Because one of the issues, like you said, someone will say, I live in Lekki, since the job is in Lekki. But he doesn't live in Lekki. He's planning to stay with his friend in Lekki when he gets the job. And then he gets there, the friend say, you can't stay here.
Let's look at this issue. my wife has been looking for a PA, and you know
Yes.
that people who are qualified are not in Lagos.
They're not in Lagos, so how do you want to do it?
And then, like my director just told me now, there are other instances where somebody comes to work early, but the person can't do anything because the people he's supposed to work with
Are not there.
Are not there.
Exactly. So after a while, morale will drop.
The guy will now believe, well, everybody doesn't come early,
late. So in fact, his own lateness will now
be double.
Yeah, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen a lot of times.
Should there be a policy to, there was a time some governors would go to ministries and shut the door.
Exactly.
You shut the door and query
because
people.
it just doesn't make sense, and I think it's become like a Nigerian factor and attitude. It's okay to go late.
African time.
It's okay. People say because they are government officials, they stroll into the aircraft late, delaying the aircraft. So for every one of us, it's
regarding
normal.
This aircraft, there's something that has happened. When you are late for your flight, the flight is on time.
Yeah.
When you are early for the flight,
the flight is delayed.
The flight is delayed.
But still doesn't change it doesn't change the fact that you have to be on time. I mean, I got into Connecticut airport. I was on transit, so I wasn't going in. I got into the airport. I got into the gate. I was to board. And honestly, till today, I talk about it because till today, it is still something that baffles me. I was sitting at the gate. They called the boarding, and I didn't know. Man, because you know how their gates are. About several flights board from the same gate. So me, I just thought, okay, they haven't called our flight.
And you missed it. And
I missed the flight to DC. And I'm sitting down there. So I now walk up to the lady and said, I'm sorry, we've been announcing the flight. That's the plane there. So that thing kind of it's stuck in my memory because I never go late. It's almost been like second nature. I never go late to anything. So for me to miss my flight, the thing, it's been over 10 or 15 years. It has refused to go away in my mind.
On that note, we would like to round up because we think that punctuality is key. The
key.
time that people resume work should be considered by employers.
True.
Considering that there's traffic. And then we also believe that the time that people close of business, normally in a corporate environment should be about
5 p.m.
5 p.m. Which is why it's called 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But there are certain times when you need to work over that time. Should employers give overtime?
Well, it is necessary, but most times in your letter of employment, it's noted that there's work to be done.
Any other duty assigned?
As duty assigned, and I think that that's why it's important, like if you will say, read through the contract very well and be sure that it works for you. Yeah, they said 9 to 5. It's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. At 8 a.m., you should be clocking in. If you're giving 10 or 15 minutes, I mean, at some point in most of my businesses, we used to deduct money from staff because people don't like their money to be touched. It makes them to come early. But then being humane, but punctuality is a big issue. It's a big issue.
Thank you so much. It's a bye-bye from me, Ini.
Thank you so much. And please continue to follow us on our social media pages. And we will continue this conversation on our social media pages. Thank you and see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.